Good morning, I'm Charles Osgood, and this is Sunday Morning. We remember the wonderful Paul Newman, who died Friday of cancer at the age of 83, and wonderful he was, on screen, on stage, and in real life. A caring, thoughtful man of all seasons who touched so many lives and made them Newman's own. Bill Whitaker will be looking back on a remarkable life.
He was cool.
What we got here is a failure to communicate.
He was hot.
You please me and I'll please you.
He was the anti-hero and the consummate pro, one of the greatest movie stars of his time.
See, those are just symbols of our desire to be just.
We'll remember Paul Newman.
Rules! No rules!
Later this Sunday morning.
When it comes to making the right moves, Paul Newman starred in more than 50 movies, a film legend if ever there was one. He was nominated for Academy Awards 10 times. He won one, along with 2 honorary Oscars. His marriage to actress Joanne Woodward was itself a love story right out of the movies. And his passion for auto racing had him both driving and owning. When the oil and vinegar salad dressing company Newman started as a joke grew into a hugely successful venture, he gave the profits, more than $250 million so far, to charity. Paul Newman died on Friday at the age of 83. Bill Whitaker has more on this extraordinary man.
They say movie stars act with their eyes. If that's the case, there was never a movie star like Paul Newman.
Do you mind looking into my eyes, sir? It feels like a cinder.
Those penetrating blue eyes, mischievous, occasionally menacing, but always magnetic.
Let's hear something else. I can win it. I can win this case.
Born Paul Leonard Newman in 1925 near Cleveland, Ohio, he took to acting early in grade school and college and got television and Broadway parts very easily soon after moving to New York, where he also met a young actress just starting out herself, Joanne Woodward.
You please me and I'll please you.
That was only acting. Newman left his first wife for Woodward and had one of the few happily ever after Hollywood marriages. More than 50 years later, they were together as they received Kennedy Center honors and looked back over a legendary movie career.
I'm back.
Newman won one of his 2 Oscars for The Color of Money, the other an honorary one. But his career might have never gotten off the ground if people judged him by his first movie, The Silver Chalice.
How could you, a Roman magistrate, believe that perjurer? A sniveling little toady.
Newman thought his performance was so bad in that 1954 film that he took out a full-page ad in the trade papers to apologize for it. It would be the only time. Nearly everything else that followed was a critical or commercial success. Somebody up there likes me.
Listen, boy, you stop this fight, I'll break every bone in your body, you hear me? I'll tear you apart.
The precursor to The Color of Money, The Hustler.
I mean, that ever happened to you? All of a sudden you feel like you can't miss?
HUD.
I don't like sudden passes.
Really ease into it then. There's another one coming up on you right.
Cool Hand Luke.
What we got here is a failure to communicate.
And a couple of movies that are probably the granddaddies of all buddy movies. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
No, not yet. Not until me and Harvey get the rules straightened out.
Rules? In a knife fight? No rules.
Well, if there ain't gonna be any rules, let's get the fight started. Someone count 1, 2, 3, go. 1, 2, 3, go.
And The Sting.
No sense being a grifter if it's the same as being a citizen.
As extraordinary as that pairing was, Redford and Newman never made another film together, not for lack of trying.
To try to find something equal, every year becomes more difficult and more difficult.
If there's a common thread among most of those movies and dozens of others, it's that Newman usually played an underdog, an outsider, an anti-hero, an outlaw with a personal moral compass, a rebel with devastating good looks, a down-and-outer trying to redeem himself in The Verdict.
If we are to have faith in justice, we need only to believe in ourselves justice.
But Newman downplayed his remarkable range, telling 60 Minutes his success was due less to his acting and more to his looks.
I could puke. Well, mostly because, as I say, that has, it's not an accomplishment.
His success, Newman said, was just luck.
Because I don't know that there was anything else that I could do.
There was a lot that Newman could do. An early civil rights marcher, a political activist attending the 1968 Democratic Convention in support of Eugene McCarthy.
You can't consider yourself a disenfranchised citizen merely because you're in the acting profession.
He became a philanthropist. The profits from his $100 million a year salad dressing and popcorn business went to charity, including a summer camp for seriously ill kids. And if Newman was cavalier about acting, he was passionate about race car driving, still racing himself well past the age of 80, and still an avid fan until the end, here at a practice for the Indianapolis 500 in 2008. His appearance was the first sign that he was suffering from cancer, a battle Newman fought with dignity and grace.
The future is murky, and at least it's pleasant to know that you have a past, I suppose.
A past that lives on in a pair of blue eyes electrifying the screen. Believe it or not, Paul Newman was colorblind. Nobody's perfect, but as an actor, as a humanitarian, Paul Newman came close.
Still to come, David Edelstein on The Man and his movies.
You're scared of him. Right down to my socks, Buster. You're talking about a guy who'd kill a grifter over a chunk of money, wouldn't support him for 2 days.
You're gonna go for him.
It's Sunday morning on CBS, and here again is Charles Osgood.
The Sting, also starring Robert Redford, is just one of many memorable films that were graced with a performance by Paul Newman, whose death we've been telling you about this morning. Anybody who's followed Newman's career has his own favorite memories. Our critic David Edelstein now with an appreciation.
Paul Newman is the closest thing we've had in a movie star to a saint. And he'd probably say that was the dumbest thing he'd ever heard, which as far as I'm concerned is more proof. He was self-deprecating, often self-critical. He never assumed we'd love him because he was, Paul Newman. When directors built him pedestals, he earned them. He studied method acting, but he never went for fumbly, mumbly self-plumbing. He threw his attention onto other actors, which might be why so many became stars and won awards. Everyone looked brighter in his light.
I gave up on you the first time I ever looked into those cold blue eyes.
You got the color right.
I've got everything right.
The light came from those eyes, of course, but it wasn't just their color that had us hypnotized.
10 grand. I'm gonna win 10 grand in one night.
Two of his most vivid performances were in black and white. The self-loathing pool hall drifter in The Hustler.
I'm the best you ever seen, Fats. I'm the best there is. Now, even if you beat me, I'm still the best.
And the mean, drunk, oversexed rancher in HUD.
He's probably up at Vegas Arena right now, dealing at night, losing it all back in the daytime.
Oh, man like that sounds no better than a heel.
Aren't you all?
Honey, don't go shooting all the dogs because one of them's got fleas.
Newman didn't use those eyes promiscuously.
It was him!
He hooded them, slit them, closed them in pain. When open, they were sky blue with a milky haze. You could get lost in them. You could also see that he was sometimes lost behind them. Our most wide-open movie star was also our deepest and most unfathomable. He was so open that we feared for him on screen, and he was